Hey there, welcome back to Tim Talks Cooking. Today we are talking Keto 101 basic meal prep. This is going to set you up for probably more than a week at least. Roasted vegetables. This is so easy to do. This is such a great thing to have on hand. I use these to top pizzas. I use them also as a side dish. Add a little butter, ghee, maybe some bacon bits or something. You got a nice high-fat side to go along with your salad and whatever your protein is. This is really a good thing to have. We're going to roast them and then we're going to freeze most of them so that whenever we want, this is already done. Because it starts off with a little bit of work. Let me show you how we do it. Let's get started. These are the vegetables we're going to roast together today. Of course, you could use many different kinds of vegetables here, that whatever you like. Today, this is what I had in my fridge, and it's what we're going to be cooking. I had 2 large discount eggplants that I got for 99 cents a piece because they were ugly, and cut them into nice big pieces after peeling them. You don't have to peel eggplant. I do because I just don't like the peel of the eggplant. I also got a pint of discount cherry tomatoes here. These are grape tomatoes, I guess, and we're just going to toss those in the mix too. I had some bell peppers in my fridge as well, red, yellow, green. I had a poblano pepper in there, and I had a jalapeno that I wanted to use too, so I deveined and de-seeded all of them and cut them up into a fairly big dice. I've also got some mushrooms. These were half price, and they're still perfectly good. We're going to use those as well. Got a great big yellow onion here as well that I cut into these kinds of slices. You don't want to cut it too finely. We don't want it to burn in the oven. We're also going to need some Italian seasoning. I've got 2 or 3 tablespoons here, some kosher salt, freshly ground black pepper, and some extra virgin olive oil. You can of course use any kind of cooking oil you like. Here's my oil. Any kind of cooking oil that you choose. You could use ghee, you could use bacon fat if you wanted really here. It's just not one I want to cook my vegetables in. One other note before we get started, you'll notice here that there's no garlic here, and there's a reason for that. We're going to roast these vegetables, and when you roast vegetables or anything, you do it at a high temperature. Preheat your oven to 500 degrees, like I'm doing right now, and we're going to get started putting these together with no garlic in here because it'll burn and become bitter and ruin the whole thing. Like with a lot of my recipes, once we've got the mise en place together, that's preparing everything to make it ready to go, we're going to just simply put everything in a bowl. You really don't need to mix them up very well in the bowl. I'm just going to put them in here because it's easier to put a little oil on them. And here, notice I'm just going to drizzle a couple of tablespoons, maybe up to a quarter of a cup or even a little more, of extra virgin olive oil. Here, the eggplant and the mushrooms are going to absorb that pretty much. The other vegetables will become coated in it, and that's just fine. It's what we want. It's also going to distribute itself down to the bottom of the bowl here. Now we want to put this on a sheet pan, or this is going to take a couple of sheet pans. Let me show you. We don't need to oil it because the vegetables are oily. And we also don't want to crowd the pan too much. I'm going to put as much in here as can fit on a single layer while deploring any escapees that make their way out of the pan. And this might take us a couple of batches to do this right. Here you can see we're pretty much full up. That's pretty good. Now, our next step is to season this. I'll wipe my hand quickly with some Italian seasoning. Not too much, just a little. Some kosher salt. And as always, freshly ground black pepper. This is going to go into our 500-degree oven for 15 minutes. Along with the other tray, I'm going to pull them both out, give them a stir, switch the racks, put them back in for about another 15 minutes. I just pulled these out of the oven. It's been 15 minutes now. You can see that they're pretty steamy. Nothing is burning in the bottom of the pan. If it were, we'd remove it. We're doing good here. I'm just going to give it a nice stir. I'm going to do that with the other tray. And when I put this on the top rack. It was on the bottom before, so it'll cook evenly. Now I pulled these out after about another 10 minutes here rather than 15. I could smell that they were pretty much done. I'm pretty sensitive to that in the kitchen. You really want to check them the second time around at 500 degrees anyway. After about 10 minutes, maybe after 5 minutes, just to make sure. Everything really depends on how your vegetables are cut and how hot your oven really gets. Now, if you're wondering, what the heck do I do with these roasted vegetables? Like I said, you could put them on pizza. There are lots of ways you can use them. I'm going to show you here how to use them as a side dish. And I'm also going to show you how I organize my plate so I don't spend all of my time counting macros and worrying about whether what I'm eating for lunch or dinner fits within my keto diet. I start off by covering half of my plate with greens, with fresh raw greens like this. And I'm going to dress these up a little bit. You can, of course, leave it like this. You can put some tomatoes, whatever other vegetables you've got. I've got some nice fresh cucumber here. I'm going to add that. And notice the raw vegetable part of my plate is pretty abundant. This is a must. I'm also going to add, I've got some nice fresh broccoli. I'm going to put that in there. Let's break those up. I've also got some chopped peppers here of different colors. That's going to make this a little prettier, I think. So I'm just going to add some of that in there. This is just so good for you. It's so beautiful. This is really a delicious way to make up your plate. I'm going to add to that some of my keto ranch dressing. This is a little thick. I guess it could be thinned out a little bit. But there we go. Get some of that all around. Everybody loves a little ranch dressing, right? All right, let's see if we can keep all that in the plate. There we go. Now, next, I've got my protein. And in this case, that is, we'll move that back over there, we'll make room for it. A quarter of our plate should be protein. I'm a meat eater, not always, but usually. And so I'm going to have a hamburger patty. I've melted some Swiss cheese on that. Get all that lovely cheese in there. And then for a side dish, I'm going to use some of these roasted vegetables. And are you thinking, but I've already got a plate full of vegetables. Yeah, you do. And you're going to have a little more vegetables in there too. If you want to add some fat to this, you could top these with some melted butter, some ghee. Some bacon bits would be great on this. You would also put some cheese on there, or any combination of those. This is my idea of a well-organized keto plate. You've got a quarter protein, about the size of the palm of my hand, right? You've got a nice fatty side here of some kind of cooked vegetable. It can be a number of things, actually. And half of the plate is covered with raw, leafy green salad with some other raw vegetables. Well, all right, let's give them a taste here. Check these vegetables out, man. They look really good. They smell great. This kitchen smells so great right now. Maybe not quite so big a bite. Mmm. That's a really good vegetable medley right there. Let me tell you what. Perfectly seasoned. Has a kind of sweetness to it, of course, because we've roasted them at a high temperature. Caramelized those sugars in there. Just delicious. I hope you'll try this recipe. I also hope, before you go, that you'll like, share, comment, and especially subscribe to my channel. It helps my channel grow, and it helps you find my videos. Especially if you click on that notifications bell, you'll be notified every time I upload videos, a couple of times a week, actually. Thanks for joining us here today at Tim Talks Cooking. We'll catch you next time.